courses at public universities.
The Ministry of Education and Sports has called on Parliament to increase funding for the National Council for Higher Education to enable it carry out its mandate more efficiently. The dire straits of the regulatory authority were highlighted by Dr. John Chrysostom Muyingo, the Minister of State for Higher Education.
One, inadequate staffing, as you are aware, inadequate transport facilities, inadequate funding for operational and development purposes, of course, also office space limitations. We call upon the honorable members to support identification of resources for National Council for Higher Education to enable the agency to execute its mandate.
The National Council for Higher Education is mandated by law to accredit academic and professional programs taught in universities and other tertiary institutions. It also assesses the quality, relevance, and learning outcomes of programs taught in those institutions. However, Dickson Kateshumbwa, the representative for Shema Municipality, took the minister to task, saying his ministry is in charge of budgeting for the National Council for Higher Education.
The budget comes from the government. It comes here, you set the ceilings, you identify priorities, and you bring the budget to Parliament. If there are priorities under National Council for Higher Education, why don't you provide funds as cabinet? Why do you want the public to think that Parliament has not done work to give money to agencies that need support?
Now, National Council for Education, for example, the Quality Assurance Department, which is supposed to be doing this work, has 12 people. And they are supposed to be assessing 4,500 courses, curriculum. Can you imagine? Put money for National Council in the budget and you see whether we shall remove it. We shall ensure it is protected. Otherwise, you can tell us where to cut, we will cut and we give to National Council.
Thomas Tayebwa, the Deputy Speaker, took exception to the use of the term expired degrees.
Sometimes we love using strong words without knowing the impact they can have one day. Why use the word expiring? The damage done to the higher institutions of our country by this, it will take, I can tell you, even if you clarify like what, to get the coverage that the negative aspect got will be very difficult. Maybe you'll have to buy space in the media.
Tayebwa also tasked the State Minister to spearhead the review of the 5-year accreditation period for masters, bachelors, diplomas, and higher education certificate programs.
I mean, how do you look at a course that takes 5 years, you say its curriculum can expire after every 5 years? It's not tenable. And why are you giving yourself a much bigger burden of coming in to review? But finally, why cause a national crisis?
Once a program has been accredited and the university has a charter, the idea of periodical reassessment, in my view, becomes superfluous. Why is there a need?
During the next 2 days, the Committee on Education and Sports will meet with the ministry officials and other stakeholders to harmonize the way forward. Gillian Nantume, NTV Tonight.
And when he makes clarification to explain